Today's video is all about vintage spring rustic farmhouse DIYs and crafts using supplies mostly from the Dollar Tree. Hey guys, my name is Tracy. I love to share crafty ideas with a bit of rustic country charm, just like today's projects. I'm so glad that you're here, and let's get started. I wanted to create some more updated farmhouse bunny DIYs using some little clay pots. Now, I got these clay pots from Hobby Lobby. I got them on sale for $1.49, and yeah, the stack, half of them were broken. I was able to salvage half of them, but that is okay. The plastic eggs came from the Dollar Tree, and I wanted white, but I could only get this pink color, but that's okay because we're going to paint them. They're little Easter eggs. They come at two in like apart, so I'll be gluing those in just a second. All right, to get the face off, I just used some fingernail polish remover and a cloth. I could not find my cotton balls at the time I was doing this, otherwise I would have grabbed a cotton ball and got that, but this little paper towel worked great. Then to glue those two sides together, I just used my stick fast glue that I got from Amazon and just glued those together. Then I started painting my eggs, and I am using Boss Bond, which is like Slick Stick by Dixie Belle. It kind of helps with coverage and that kind of thing. And so I am just giving it a coat of that. Then I will go back over it with a coat of drop cloth for my bunnies. And I just use my little clips just to help hold it. Now, in the previous video, I used my clothespins, and for some reason I could not find my clothespins. So again, I need to reorganize and clean up my craft room so I can find my stuff. So here I'm working on the clay pots, and I'm using that Boss Bond, which is a Slick Stick from Dixie Belle. I think they've like renamed it. And so I'm just giving it a coat of that just to see if I can get by with not having to put so many coats on of my chalk paint. And so yes, that works really good. I'm very new to using the Slick Stick or the Boss Bond. I just have the clear one, but I think it also comes in white, I think. So anyway, then I give it that little clay pot as well as the bunnies a coat of drop cloth. I paint the ears different or give myself a little bit of time to paint the pots and paint the ears, and I ended up giving it 2 coats so that they look really nice. Then for a more grungy rustic look, I'm just taking my Kilz dark wax and just my finger, and then I have a baby wipe that helps kind of wetten my fingers so that I can slide the Kilz wax across it, and it gives me the rustic look that I am going for, and you can find that on Amazon. I have it listed in my Amazon store. I also do the bunnies the same way, just to give it the rustic look, just by rubbing my finger over the bunnies. Then I wanted to add some paint splatters. That's what I call them, or other crafters call them fleckles. I just use a stiff stencil brush and a stick, and I have my table covered, and I put out my little pots, and I rub the stick over the stencil brush toward my body, and then that paint directs onto the bunnies as well as the clay pots. And so I just gave the bunnies and the pots some little fleckles. Now, what I'm going to do is I have these styrofoam balls that I got probably from the Dollar Tree, and I flatten out the top of it, glue it around, and then put it into the pot. Then this is reindeer moss that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to be putting that in there just so that it kind of covers up that styrofoam ball. I don't want the green really to be showing because I'm going to be using my Excelsior. I love, love, love this stuff. This is my favorite crafting thing to use for my country crafts, as well as the sisal grass that I recently discovered and love that so much. So I'm just using my stick fast glue and some hot glue, Gorilla hot glue, just to glue down my bunnies. I hold those just for a little bit so that I can get a really good hold. I go around it to reinforce with my Gorilla hot glue, and then just do all of those the same way. Now, I'm not going to be adding a whole lot like ribbon or anything like that. I just really like the simplicity of the little farmhouse bunny little pots here. Now, of course, any I just share for ideas, and so anyone can do whatever they would like for their creations. Now, I got these small white flowers from the Dollar Tree, and then I had shared in a previous little frame there that those little white flowers from Hobby Lobby. That's what I was going to work with at first until I ran across these white. They're a little bit more subdued, and they're not as bright with the green. And so I really, really love the softness that it gives to my little farmhouse bunny pots here. This little wooden birdhouse with the window box on it came from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using this vintage Easter scrapbook paper that I got from Amazon. I'll have a link for it in the description box. I absolutely love each and every one of the prints, but I do want to warn you, they are double-sided. So depending on what you decide to do with it, if you Mod Podge like I did here in this project, I feel like it's a waste because I lose the back side of the paper. Now I'm taking my birdhouse and I'm going to trim out different sections of what I want. I'm using a Frixion pen. Now this is an erasable pen that I'm using, and the reason that I'm using this is because if I get any black lines that I don't want on there, I can just take my heat tool and just heat that, and they disappear. And so I'm going to be adding different sections of the paper to my birdhouse. I was going to paint it first, and then I decided to add the scrapbook paper. But this color that I'm using is a Dixie Belle color by the name of Vintage Duck Egg. Beautiful, beautiful blue, and it matches perfect for this scrapbook paper that I'm using here in this project. And so I did the whole entire thing. Now for the roof, I just used my antique wax by Waverly and my baby wipe just to give it some stain on the roof the way that I like it. And then I'm going to kind of measure out the paper on it, and then I'm just going to trim it and just Mod Podge it onto the entire birdhouse the way that I want it. Some of it I just kind of tore, and that's what, when you're working with little projects like this, you just have to figure out what works for you. For the feet, I used 4 15mm split wood balls, and the color I'm just using the antique wax just with a baby wipe just to give it this stained look. Then I set those in place with my stick fast glue as well as hot glue. Then I'm going to Mod Podge the rest of the paper on the birdhouse. Now I just kind of pieced it together the way that I thought that it looked really nice, and then once it's dry, then I just took a regular fingernail file, and that kind of helped me get through those grooves, that little scallop. And so that is a great tip for those that you can get into those little nooks and crannies for, that you can't get your big sander into. All right, so then for a little bit more definition, using my vintage photo distress ink just to go around that. And this is how my house is looking so far. So then to give it just a little bit of something extra, I pulled out my stickles in icicle, and I went around the flowers as well as the bird just to, kind of kick it up a notch and give it a little bit more pizzazz. Then once that is completely dry, then I went ahead and started stuffing my little window box here. Now I didn't want anything overbearing, so I do have my Excelsior. I love this whimsical Excelsior. I also added some of that sisal grass as well as some of these flowers that I got off of this greenery that I got over at the Dollar Tree. greenery, and the tag just says greenery on it. I also added some little mini eggs from Hobby Lobby, and this little project is so it's just complete and it's just so precious. I absolutely love these vintage birds. I love this scrapbook paper. Again, I will have it linked in the description box if that is something that you're interested in. I had these Dollar Tree carrots and wanted to make some rustic farmhouse carrots. Now, these were little carrots that had bubbles in them. So I took out the liquid. I'm just going to be using the outside part and make these cute little rustic farmhouse carrots. Now, I found the yarn over at the Dollar Tree and I decided to use this. I wish I would have found some that was like off white or cream, but my store did not have any at the time when I found the yarn. So what I did is when I made the first one, I realized that even when I glued the yarn on the carrot, I could still see some of the orange. So the second one, I went ahead and gave it a coat of just drop cloth chalk paint, but any paint would work just in order to cover up that orange so that when you glue on your yarn, the orange will not show through. So I just hot glued that on just in places because the hot glue does get a little clumpy sometimes, and I wanted my carrots to be really cute. Now for the tops of my carrots, I'm using this greenery that I got over at Joann's craft store. It's very sad that they are closing all of the stores, and I hope that they can come to some sort of resolution. But anyway, I love getting their florals, especially their greenery from there because it's a very well made. And when I ran across this greenery, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get some of that because I'm going to use it for carrots. So I just stuck it in the top of the carrots and everything looks really, really nice. To cover the top, I'm going to be using some fabric as well as just pieces of cheesecloth, as well as some of this sisal grass. I absolutely love this. I will have a link for it in the description box, as well as you can find it in my Amazon storefront. So I love the wispiness of it and how it is very airy and just really adds that bit of just kind of like almost a messy look for my project. If that's not your style, most definitely don't use it. Anyway, so I just took the strips of fabric, wrapped it around the neck of the carrot, put in my cheesecloth as well as my sisal grass, cut it down to the size that I wanted it, and this just looks adorable. I absolutely love the way that these bigger carrots turned out. Now, for the small carrots, Dollar Tree seems to have these every single year, and so I kind of learned that some of that orange was going to show through, so I painted them just with some drop cloth chalk paint. And then I'm going to be doing the same thing, just wrapping the carrot. Wrapping the carrot with the brown yarn. I discovered by doing this, by putting in the green tops first, helps just with these smaller carrots, just in my opinion. And so I put in my green tops and then just start wrapping the carrots with the brown yarn. Now, I didn't add any kind of anything to the carrots because I'm going to be making a small box for all of these to go into. I'm making a shelf sitter. And so this is just ideas that I like to share as God gives me these kind of thoughts and ideas just to create or inspired by something that I've seen of what I want to make for my home and just to inspire you here. All right, so the box is also from the Dollar Tree. I took off the bottom sticker. Then I'm giving it a coat of pine cone chalk paint. Now this is a Dixie Belle color. I painted the whole thing outside, inside, and all of that good stuff. So once that was dry, I'm using drop cloth and a wispy brush and just doing some dry brushing, or that's my version of dry brushing, all the way around, because I want the brown to kind of show through with the rustic look of everything, but then I also don't want it to be solid. I gave it a good sand with my Gator finger sander, and just to expose a little bit of the wood and give it a little bit more rustic feel. And then just pulling out my Excelsior and just adding that to the box. Now I also have this green sisal grass that I found on Amazon. We'll have the link in the description if that's something that you may be interested in. So I pulled out pieces of that and added that to my box. I didn't put any styrofoam in this because I need the space for my carrots to sit in. As I mentioned, I am making a shelf sitter for my side table, so I just have this to put in my box. So then I decided, after I'd done this, I'm like, I want a little lift. And so I pulled out these 25mm split wood balls, and so I gave them some color with antique wax by Waverly. Then I'm just using my stick fast glue and my hot glue just to glue this to the bottom of my box. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in my carrots, and then I decide, what, I want a little bit of color to it. So I found these kind of frosty beads or pick over at Hobby Lobby during their after Christmas sale, and so I added a little bit of that. I also have some white cherry blossoms I added just for some florals. Then I decided, what, I want to wrap a little bit of like a ribbon around the box, and so I pulled out this open weave ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree, cut it in half because it was too wide, and then I just wrapped that around the box and just tied it off in the front. And I absolutely love the way that this little shelf sitter turned out, and it just looks wonderful in my home. For these carrots, this is a little jump rope set, and I love the detail on the carrots. I love the little grooves, and so I decided to give them a coat of Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color drop cloth, and one coat really worked well because what I'm going to do is add some distressing using my Kilz Dart wax. Now, if this is not something that you like for your projects, definitely leave it off, but I love to add a little bit of distress to my projects. And also I wanted to enhance those grooves a little bit more, so I went around with my antique wax by Waverly, kind of spreading that in some of those grooves just to give it a little bit more definition. Now, for the tops of these carrots, what I'm using are these greenery picks that I picked up from Dollar Tree, as well as some of those that greenery I got from Joann's craft store. And I just added it to the top of the carrots, giving it a very whimsical, airy, and flowing look for these sweet farmhouse rustic carrots. For the fabric bow, I'm using some different ribbons and trims here. I have some lace, some muslin fabric, some cheesecloth, and then this open weave ribbon is from Dollar Tree. I cut it in half because it was too wide for me. So I have this lace right here that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm also going to be making some curly cues using this floral wire that I got on Amazon. It is is listed in my Amazon storefront. I just use the end of a paintbrush just to give me the size of curly cues that I want. I'm also pulling out some sisal grass because I'm going to be adding that to my fabric bow here. And I just put everything together and then just use a piece of muslin fabric just to tie it onto the neck of the carrot right underneath that greenery. I'm also going to make a small tag. I got these burlap tags from the Dollar Tree, and I just hand letter spring doing my happy dots, giving my edges a little bit of shading with the vintage photo distress ink. Then I'll go back with my little detailing brush just to put a little white swoosh in the dots just to kind of make it pop. And it's kind of my signature. It's kind of like what I like to do. And I'm so happy that the Lord has given me these gifts, ideas, and this community to share these ideas with.